Hello, welcome to the Echo Tips Podcast. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about a new toy I have in the classroom, and that is the new Echo Show 10 with motion capability. So it's got a little motor in there that can spin the display around along with its camera, and we're going to talk about what the benefits are of that and some of the controls you have available. And we'll also kind of just briefly highlight some of the new features. We'll probably be demoing an upcoming podcast about this. But before we get into that in any sort of detail, we're going to go to a brief message about our podcast, and then we'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving Central, Southwest, and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Hello again. It's good to have you all back with us again. As I mentioned, we're going to be talking about the Echo Show 10 with motion today, some of its features and its unique capabilities. But before I get into that, we got some new listeners probably listening today. We'd like to welcome you. My name is David Ward. I'm an assistive technology instructor with the New Vision program at Goodwill, based here in Southwest Virginia. And it's good to have you with us. And for our returning listeners, we'd like to welcome you back as well. And you'll find that our podcast are little nuggetized episodes, usually 5 to 15 minutes long, where we try to highlight new equipment, new features, skills, games, and the like on your Amazon Echo line of devices. So that could be little hockey pucks or the balls now, like the Echo Dot, or the traditional Echo. Or the ones with the screens, such as the Echo Show line of devices, the 5, the 8, the 10, the 15. So there's all sorts of different ones. Because of both of you listeners, we're about to hit 100,000 listens to our roughly 200 episodes. We're getting close to 200 here soon. All right, so let's delve right into this about the Echo Show 10. So many of you may have been familiar with the 5-inch Echo, the Echo Show 5, the 8-inch, which is the Echo Show 8, and the Echo Show, there have been several revisions of those, and the Echo Show 10. In fact, that last Echo I have in here was an Echo Show 10. It was the first generation. But this is the Echo Show 10 with motion, which is a future edition with some improved chips. That's going to allow us to do some additional things in future podcasts, maybe demo Zoom and other things like that. Also, it has this motorized base, so it's called the Echo Show 10 Motion. So we have certain controls that allow us to turn that on and off, and we're going to talk about that, even to temporarily turn it on and off. And before I start demoing some of that, you might want to shut off the ears of your Echo if it's in hearing distance of me. Although if you don't have an Echo Show Motion, I don't think it would do anything, but it might just be kind of annoying to hear it chiming up while I'm trying to do this demonstration in studio. Okay, so anyway, hopefully you've had a chance to do that. So you can easily say, Alexa, turn off motion.
Motion is now off. Just ask if you want to turn it back on.
Okay, so it's that easy to turn it off, and of course you can turn it back on. Alexa, turn on motion.
Motion is now on.
Okay, so it's that simple. Now, by default, it's going to be on, and there's a setup process too where you can configure it in such a way as you can pivot. You can set its its boundaries. So for example, you may have it sitting on a table or an island out in the room where it can really kind of spin a whole 360 degrees. Well, in that case, it's not really a concern. But if you have it maybe in the corner of the room where it could whack the wall or something if it turns too far, you can set boundaries and limits. Say maybe it only turns at 120 degrees in this particular plane. Things like that. So you can set boundaries. You can also set what's known as the idle position. So when there's nothing particularly going on or it's interacting with you, it's kind of stationary like picture frame. It'll be pointing in this direction. So you can set that as well. All of those things will be done by default when you're doing the initial setup, but you can always go back in there by swiping down from the top, hitting the little gear or settings button, and then going down to motion and tapping on that, and then making some changes or accommodations there if you feel like you need that later. Now, I've shown you how to turn it on and off. Just say maybe you're annoyed with it and you want to turn it off for a little bit. You can do that. Additionally, you can also do it in a temporary mode. So for example, let's say you and a family member are watching a TV show and it's trying to guess and pivot back and forth between the two of you. I don't really know if it would do that or not, but it may get confused. So you could just say, "Hey lady, stop following." And for the remainder of that activity, so you're watching the TV show, it won't follow you. But later on, it will turn itself back on and start following you again later in the day. Or conversely, let's say that you don't want to stop it following you, but you wanted to start following you. So for example, say you're about to go on a video conference or something like that. You could say, "Start following me." And for the remainder of that activity, as best as I understand it, it'll follow you at that time. So those are kind of like some additional ways you can customize. Now, additionally, you can always say, "A lady, turn right," "A lady, turn left," if you need her to pivot a little bit to the left or the right. And additionally, think of this as a potential security feature as well. If you're away from home, you could log into your Echo with your phone and, spin the camera around and maybe see if the dog's on the couch or something like that. So I do believe that's possible as well. So it kind of doubles as a security camera in that regard. So it has a facial recognition capability in a crude way, I believe. And of course, it also, I think, is probably using this more, which is audio sensing, the directionality of where the audio is coming from. A combination of those two things processed solely on device, according to Amazon's webpage, and not sent up to the cloud, is how it decides where to pivot the screen and aim the camera. And as you can imagine, that could be real beneficial if you're on a video conference call or a Zoom call or something like that. The beauty of this is it automatically will keep you in frame, and I believe this model, I tested it, will also kind of zoom in and crop out maybe some of the surrounding background if you're set back a ways as well. At least that's what one of my family members said it did. It zoomed kind of in a little bit on me. So that could be really advantageous to you if you're in motion or you're doing a presentation. Or maybe you're doing other activities while you're trying to watch a program or a webinar, and so pretty snazzy in that regards. Or you can even think of other simpler things, like you're watching a TV show while you're in the kitchen and you're trying to cook, and maybe you're moving around and you're over at the chopping board and now you're over at the skillet. Well, you can easily it will track and follow you as you do those things. Okay, and also as far as privacy goes, there is still a shutter, a manual shutter you can flick on the top of this, which blocks the camera, and of course you always have the microphone mute option as well. And if you have any other questions about privacy, please go back and look at our number of episodes about privacy, and I think you'll find that pretty helpful. Okay, so I think that basically covers all the major things. I was going to mention too, you can tailor it additionally. If you swipe down from the top, hit the gear icon for settings, go to motion. There's another section in there where you can customize it to kind of turn the motion feature on for very specific tasks. So maybe it only comes on for video calls or TV shows. But the rest of the time, it's kind of just stationary. You can kind of make those customizations there under the motions in the settings panel as well. Okay, well, I think that kind of brings everything to a close. If you'd like to find out more about me, You can look up our program at goodwillvalleys.com/New Vision. That's all lowercase and no spaces. Our webpage is presently being rejiggered a little bit, so there's not a lot about the New Vision program on there, just a few bulleted points. But there is an opportunity to subscribe to our newsletter. We talk about a running list of the most recent Echo tips, and we also touch on some other accessibility issues connected with the blindness community and the low vision community. So anyway, so feel free to subscribe there if you would be interested in that. Also, you can reach out to us on Twitter or Facebook at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys. And feel free to like us, share us, leave a comment in your podcast player of choice. That would be really beneficial as well. Okay, well, it's time to turn the ears back on your Echoes, start practicing some of the many things that you've learned. I'm David Ward for the New Vision program, and we thank you for listening.
Thanks, Dave. Let me tell you a bit more. Let me put on my official sounding voice. Ahem, ahem. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving Central, Southwest, and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Phew! Thanks for listening.